श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णा प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला। अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः। पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम्। लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणा। देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Welcome to the study of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying the 13th chapter, Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, the differentiation of the knower and the known. We are approaching the final few verses. After elaborating upon the topic of samatva, that means equanimity, which Sri Krishna expressly states that it will come only after having the firm conviction that God is present in all beings, both sthavara and jangama. That means that which is moving and that which is unmoving. Once we have this firm conviction that the Lord indeed exists, or the Divine Spirit exists everywhere, then Sri Krishna says, all hatred, na hinasti, all hatred will be removed from your psyche totally. Swami Vivekananda says that when that happens and when a snake bites the sadhu, a monk to whom the snake bit, when somebody asked him, "Sir, what happened to you?" He said, "Mera dost aaya tha. My friend came and he kissed me." So that is the kind of feeling that one has at that time. There is no hatred. Now he emphasizes one more point over there. Atmana atmanam na hinasti. That one should not or must not develop any hatred. This is a sadhana. This is a spiritual practice. We should try not to hate not only others but also oneself. That is decrying your own self. Why? Because the Atman, the Lord, dwells in me as much as He is outside. So if we can recognize God outside, why cannot we recognize the divine within ourselves? We do not, because of our limitations or the training that we have received, thinking that I am the body, that I am the mind, and that I am limited. These limitations must be removed. This covering of the limitations, avarana, it is called as avarana, limitations, has to be removed. And a person of that understanding, who does not hate anyone, who does not despise anyone, he indeed has understood that the divine dwells everywhere. That's what he said in the previous, the 28th verse. The question that is asked now is, if I have to reach that state of sameness, then what should I do? How can I reach to that state wherein I can feel that the self, the divine is present everywhere? Sri Krishna says, have the firm faith or firm belief that all the actions that are performed in this universe is because of duality. Anything that you do has duality in it. Pleasure and pain, joy and sorrow, heat and cold, all of this. There is always duality in whatever we put our hand upon or whatever we point out at. So, when we think of ourselves as divine or as a part and parcel of the divine being within ourselves, then the duality will stop. The duality will stop bothering us too much. That is why we see, even in the coldest of places, in the Himalayas and all that, you will see some great monks sitting in the outside with the snow falling, bare-bodied. They sit there totally unmoved by the weather, because they have told themselves that all this duality of cold and heat, it only belongs to the body and not to me. And because of that, one completely merges. When I went to Kedarnath first time in 1987, I remember. So there was one monk who was living there, very affectionate soul. He called me and said, "Come to my kutia, my small cottage. I will make some tea for you." And then He gave me some tea. Of course, I had two other monks with me. And so I just asked him, Swamiji, where do you generally live when it is very cold? Because during winter, all the residences, all the houses are almost 5 meters under the snow.
Yes.
It is under the snow in those days. Now it has probably lessened. So it is under the snow. Where do you live? He said, I live here in this cottage. I said, what happens to you? You don't feel cold? And what happens to your food and all that? Well, he said, I keep some food during summer when people bring some food articles. I just keep it and I eat it very sparingly. Some days I don't bother having food. Some days I do have something, but it does not bother me. And the cold, that also does not bother me. And can you go out of your cottage with the small hut? No, I don't even have to go out of the hut. I am just inside. मैं मगन हूँ. He said, I am totally merged or immersed. अपने गम में मगन हूँ. That means in the joy of being my own self, I am there. I then understood the meaning of this, that once you have the firm belief that all the actions that are done by your body or your mind is due to the dual prakriti, which causes things. Of course, it is Trigunatmika prakriti, it is threefold prakriti, sattva, rajas and tamas. But if you go beyond the bonds of sattva, rajas and tamas, then all this does not affect you. That is so very true. Trigunatmika prakriti. And this sattva, rajas and tamas always function together. If there is tremendous misery in you, yet there is always a flow of happiness or joy within oneself. One does not recognize it, but it is there the very next moment. You see, even in the amidst the tremendous misery, you see a smiling face of a baby. Suddenly, that joy that is within you will swell up, as it were. So that is to say, Prakriti is Trigunatmika, it is of the threefold nature, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas is always there. Prakriti, I had mentioned last time, the Prakriti or nature is like the processed food. Processed food. It is not really wholesome, it is not really organic, it is not really wholesome, but it is very tasty, much tastier than the normal food, wholesome food that we should have. So the fast food is processed, of course all other canned food, etc., they are all processed. It does not really provide us the wholesome nourishment, but yet we like it because of the jihva, the taste buds. But a healthy person, a health conscious person is one who realizes, after going through the hard lessons in life, that one should not give to the cravings of the tongue, and that one should withstand all the desires. So we need to apply that to spiritual life also. So Sri Ramakrishna always used to say, try to live a God-centric life instead of the world-centric life. Make God the fulcrum of your life. The fulcrum, the middle portion of a wheel, for example, it has got the hub. So make God the hub of your life. Once you make God the real hub of your life, then the joy that the external world, the Prakriti brings to you, the external world of the senses brings to you, seems very insipid, very tasteless, distasteful. Once you enjoy the taste of the divine. There is a Upanishad called the Taittiriya Upanishad. This Taittiriya, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a section called Brahmanandavalli. There, the Rishi talks about the different types of joys that one enjoys. And he begins, of course, with the highest message, Brahmavid apnoti param. The knower of Brahman achieves the highest. That means the maximum joy that is possible, even humanly, can be experienced by a person who has attained to that or achieved that state of Brahmanhood. And then it also enumerates the different types of joys that one can experience, both in this world as well as in the other worlds. So it says, Manusha Anandaha. What is a human, the maximum of a human joy? He says, take a yuvasyat sadhu yuvadyayakaha. That means take the instance of a young man. A young man has got perfect health, has got a perfect mind, and he is extraordinarily intelligent. There is nothing lacking in him. The joy that one gets, or such a person gets, with a perfect mind, with a perfect body, with a perfect circumstance, must be born in a very wealthy family, and with perfect intelligence. So the joy that he experiences is, it can be known as one unit of human joy. One unit of human joy. And then it goes further. The next stage of joy or happiness is that of Manushya Gandharva. Manushya Gandharva means those who are given to the life of art, music, dance, music, and all of that. They lose themselves totally in that music. Completely they lose themselves in that. Sometimes when you go to such concerts, you completely forget the time, you completely forget your very own existence over there. That happens to us. So 100 units of human joy can be equated to 1 unit of the Gandharva Ananda. That means the joy of the art, Manushya Gandharva. And then says 100 such units of Manushya Gandharva. I do not know how to translate that. Manushya Gandharva is 1 unit of Deva Gandharva, the divine Gandharva. We have in our Hindu mythology the names of Narada and Hanuman and others, who were known as the Deva Gandharva. They could merge themselves totally in the music or in the art that they propounded, and the joy that they obtained from it is 100 times that of an ordinary musician or an ordinary person, a human artist, you can say. And then it says, they 100 units of the Deva Gandharva, the divine musicians or divine artists, 100 such units is 1 unit of the Pitru Chiraloka Lokanam Anandaha. The souls which live in amongst the mains or the Pitrus or the departed souls, the joy that they experience over there, there is practically no misery over there. That is what it says. And multiply it, that joy, by another 100 times. That is known as Ajana Loka, Ajana Janam Lokanam Anandaha. That is another great beings who have performed a lot of sacrifices in their life, who have worked very hard to lead a very pious life. Ajana Janam Lokanam Anandaha. And 100 times of that will be the 1 unit of Karma Devanam Lokanam Anandaha. Those who have very religiously performed all the rites and rituals in their life will achieve to that state. It is just, comparison, It's almost 10 trillion times the joy that you and I can experience. And 100 times more than that is that of Devanam Ananda. The different gods or the so-called tutelary deities or gods, they do the bidding of the divine, of course, of Ishvara. And so, more than that is that Devanam Ananda. And then Indrasya Ananda. The position of Indra. Indra is supposed to be the king of all gods. And so his joy is 100 times more than that of the divine beings, Devanam Ananda. So it is about 100 quadrillion or something. And 100 units of Indra's happiness is 1 unit of joy of Brihaspati. Brihaspati is supposed to be the spiritual teacher of all the gods, Brihaspati. And 100 times then that, his joy, 100 times of his joy is 1 unit of Prajapati or Brahma. The other day I was watching something and a little boy, he was talking about these millions and billions and quadrillions, and he said there is one term called Google. Google is about 100 quintillions. 100 quintillions. We know about the trillions, don't we? So 100 trillions is 1 quintillion, and 100 quintillion is 1 Google. And more than that, he says, this is, there is another Google. What is that? Sextrillion and then Google. Sextrillion and then the Google. So he says, even the counting or the numbers cannot reach the joy that one experiences when one becomes one with Brahman itself. It is to highlight the joy that one experiences when one merges his identity or her identity with that of the divine. So the joy of becoming one with Brahman is far more than what we can even imagine. It is beyond speech, beyond words. That's the idea. And where can we experience it? Ihaiva, here and now we can experience it. That is the assurance that the scripture gives to us, the Shastra gives to us. We can experience it, provided we must pay the price for that. What is the price that we need to pay? Make God the only thing that I aspire for, or make that Brahma Jnana, knowledge of Brahman, the only thing that I aspire for. Before that, we make God the fulcrum. He is the center of all activities. The center of all activities. Last time I mentioned about this Swami Asheshanandji, who was in Portland in Oregon in US. So even when he would go out, he would go to Sri Ramakrishna's shrine, wherever he would go. He would go and then tell Sri Ramakrishna, I am going for this work. And so when he went to San Diego with other monks and nuns, they all went for an outing, for a picnic, and they saw this Ferris wheel, and so they all wanted to go into the Ferris wheel. And then they asked the Swami, you also accompany him? He said, no, I don't. I won't go there. So they started teasing him. They said, oh, you are very much afraid. You are afraid of your life. So he just kept quiet. Later when he was returning, another monk was next to him. He said, why didn't you come? He said, look, when I left the ashram, I went to Sri Ramakrishna and I told him what I am going to do when I go to this fair. I did not take the permission of Sri Ramakrishna to go on the Ferris wheel. I did not take his permission. See, that kind of dependence, that kind of centralization of all of his powers in Sri Ramakrishna, or all of his desires were centralized in Sri Ramakrishna alone, that is in the Lord alone. That is very important to note. So we shall go to the 30th verse. Yada bhuta pratak bhavam ekastamanu pashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. When one perceives the manifold objects as centered in the one and as evolved from it as well, then he attains Brahman. One who perceives the manifold objects as centered in the one, that all beings are like the sparks that come out of fire. Out of fire, trillions of sparks come out. All the beings are like those sparks that come from out of the divine, or like the electricity. The same electricity can function in different ways. It can function as the globe or the bulb. It can function as the chandelier here. It can function as the fan. It can function as the heater, the air conditioning, whatever it is. It can do different. It can be connected to different devices. But the one thing that passes through all of them is electricity. In the same way, the divine alone is passing through all of us. The divine alone is functioning through all of us. And once the functions are all finished, then one must not withhold anymore and merge into that one divine. That's why yatha bhuta pratak bhavam ekastham anupashyati. This is one refrain that we see in Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures, that ultimately everything is one. There is no ultimate difference at all. We think there is difference because of our ignorance. Ignorance about the existence of that one. How many of us are really convinced that God is a reality? Very, very, very few. I can say, even I myself, I cannot gainsay that I have that conviction. Because the world sometimes pushes you into such states that you forget that God alone exists, that God alone is, because we get enamored by the Maya, enamored by the manifold Maya. So that's what one should be aware of at all times. Akashat patitam toyam sagaram pratigacchati sarvadeva namaskaraha keshavam pratigacchati. In the movie Shankaracharya, every now and then you would hear this refrain, Akashat patitam toyam, just like the raindrops that fall from the skies ultimately goes and reaches the ocean. Then similarly, Sarvadeva Namaskaraha, our worship to all the divine beings, it ultimately goes and reaches to that one divine personage or divine entity called Keshava. So Keshava is Narayana, one who brings us all into this world. And Sri Ramakrishna also gives the example that for a jnani, a realized soul, all beings are like peepholes in a wall. A wall can have different peepholes. Some are big, some are small. Through the small ones, you can see very little of the external world. Through larger ones, you see a little more. But once you break the wall completely, then you see what it is, what it really is. So all beings are like a small peepholes. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says. Yada bhuta pratak bhavam ekatvam anupashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. He attains to that state of Brahman. Dhanaditvan nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyayah sharirasthopi kaunteya nakaroti na lipyate. Anaditvat nirgunatvat paramatma ayam avyayah. That highest self, being the immutable and unoriginated spirit beyond nature, is free from all action and stain, though dwelling in the body. He says anadi. Anadi means that is that which is beyond time. There is no speck of space where he is not. There is no iota of time where he is not. And he is beyond the sattva. He is immutable. That means because he is beyond the realm of sattva, rajas and tamas, beyond the hold of sattva, rajas and tamas. Therefore, he cannot be changed or mutable and unoriginated. There is no beginning and also there is no end to it. And therefore, the world cannot bind such a person. The highest knower of the highest self cannot be bound by any of these limitations. Just like the sun is not affected by the good deeds or bad deeds one does. He shines, the sun shines equally upon the good and the not so good. So we enjoy or suffer due to our own wrong thoughts, wrong actions. This must be made very clear in our psyche. God is not somebody who is sitting there punishing the wicked and rewarding the, the virtuous. This is a general concept of religion, just to make people aware that God is there and that one should go on the right path. That is okay. But Vedanta philosophy says God is neither a rewarder nor a punisher. Our own actions punish us, our own actions reward us. This is the real truth. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyad akasham nopalipyate sarvatravasthito dehe tathatma nopalipyate. Just as the all-pervading akasha, that is the space, because of its subtlety is not stained by anything, so this Atman, though abiding in all bodies, is never affected by any impurity. Sky or space is everywhere. See, one experiences the space as small in a smaller place and experiences as big in a bigger container or bigger space. But the space is not limited to smallness or bigness, smallness or largeness. So the water of the drain reflects the sun, as well as the water of the clean ocean also reflects the sun. The sun does not say, oh, you are dirty, I don't want to reflect in you. Similarly, the Atman is everywhere. These are different thoughts that are given to us by the scriptures to make this idea firm within ourselves that the divine is constantly there. He is all the time there. And one poet said, he is at the beck and call of the devotee. One only has to call upon him. One only has to pray to him, pray to the Lord and call upon him. That's all that one should do. Is there. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyad akasham nopalipyate yatha prakashayatyekaha kritsnam lokamimam ravihi kshetram kshetri tatha kritsnam prakashayati bharata. Just as the single sun illumines the whole universe, so the one indwelling spirit enlivens all bodies with self-consciousness. Shines, the sun's rays shine the hut of the poor, and it also shines the mansion of the rich. Yes, there is no partiality in the sun, and he is the Kshetrajna. The Lord is the Kshetrajna, the knower of this field called the universe. He knows everything. So therefore, he is the indwelling spirit. Antaryami. This is a very beautiful term that we get in the Upanishads. Antaryami. Antar means inside. Yamin means spread over. He is spread over completely, just as blood has spread over the whole of the body. Similarly, as just a very crude example, but more than that, the divine is pervading the whole universe, including this body and mind consciousness. So this understanding must come to us. That's what Sri Krishna says in the last verse. Kshetra Kshetrajnayorevam antaram jnana chakshusha bhuta prakriti moksham cha ye viduryanti te param. Whoever perceives by spiritual insight the distinction between the nature and the spirit, Kshetra and Kshetrajna, as also the freedom of the spirit from the hold of nature, they reach the supreme. God is not exclusive to any religion or faith or belief. God is equally true for the atheist and to the believer. He's there everywhere. He is there. Whether somebody believes in God or not does not matter to him at all. For us, if somebody likes us, then we like him or her. If somebody doesn't like us, then we shun away that person. But with the divine, there is no such partiality because he has become everything. The Jnani is one, a knower of Brahman is one, who is like the ant. You give the ant a mixture of sugar and sand, it will only pick the sugar and taste the sugar and take the sugar and keep it. Similarly, a Jnani is one who accepts, a knower is one who accepts the essence and does not bother about the non-essentials of religion. Sri Ramakrishna says, I will conclude with Sri Ramakrishna's words, it is easy to say that the world is Maya, a delusion. But do you know the implication of this statement? It is like burning the camphor which leaves no residue. It is not like burning the fuel which leaves the ash behind. True spiritual pursuit leads the sadhaka into samadhi, in which the jagat and the jiva are eliminated. The world and the soul are eliminated. All relative existences vanish, leaving behind Brahman, the absolute. Brahman alone exists. Kshetra Kshetrajnayo eva antaram jnana chakshusha. This is something which we need to develop. Jnana chakshush. Chakshu means the eyes. The eyes of jnana. The eyes which are not colored by the world, but which can see truth as it is. We see the world with the color that we taint ourselves with. If I wear a glasses which is tinted, then I see outside as a little dark or a little bit hazy. So we should not do that. We should see everyone as the divine. That is the idea. Kshetra Kshetrajnayo and Jnana Chakshusha. We must develop this Jnana Chakshus. That means this inner eye. Jnana Chakshus means the inner eye. That inner eye will definitely come to us. So Sri Ramakrishna used to say, I see God. I have seen God and I see God. And he adds to that, said, I see God not through these tainted eyes, but through the inner eye, Jnana Chakshush. You develop. And Sri Ramakrishna very beautifully says, once you become spiritual, once you go deeper within yourself, you will develop a different kind of senses, a different kind of ears, that means hearing, a different kind of seeing, different kind of tasting, smelling and all that. Everything is different because there you will smell or taste everything as filled with the divine. It's very Sri Ramakrishna's experience. They are from his own personal experience. See, and the taste that you have, the experiences that you have is far, far greater than the experience that you have through these senses, five senses. So go beyond the five senses. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says. How to do that? First of all, an understanding should come within ourselves that the divine alone exists, and that whatever I am dealing with, this kshetra or this field that I am in, is indeed temporary, and that the essence is far beyond this temporary. That which is the real essence is far beyond the reach of the senses, and that you need to experience that truth, which is the Kshetrajna state, reaching the state of Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. That is, it is not it is not enough just to know the external world. Try to know the inner world also, the world that is within ourselves. There is a larger world within ourselves. Only we have not worn the correct type of spectacles, the correct type of spectacles to do that. For that, a jnana chakshush, that means an inner eye must develop, and it comes through prayer, through meditation, through performance of selfless actions. All of these, a combination of all of these, slowly and slowly will make you develop that inner eye. And when that happens, then the joy that one feels within is beyond any expression, beyond any words. Om Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogiridhyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanaatam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanastu. Next Sunday we have a satsang. We have a special speaker, Dr. Mahasina Thambi. So the satsang will start at 10:30 a.m. and conclude by 12. You are requested to participate in it. And we will continue with the Bhagavad Gita, the next chapter, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, the three gunas, differentiation of the three gunas, the following Sunday.